We are on historical focuses, yes. Forgot how small Italy's tree is. It's pretty tiny compared to everyone else. Why not buy some tanks from Germany? It's not actually a bad idea. We certainly could. And it would show off the licensing system. Sure, why not? So if we go over to Germany and we say request license production, sort by tanks, then we can see what tanks they have available. They have got medium tank 1s, which are a 1939 technology, so we don't have access to these yet. So I'm going to say, I want your Panzer 3s. Oh, they would not accept. Right, we're not in a faction, so they probably wouldn't say no. They probably would say no. So this would cost us 4 civilian factories, which they would get as long as this license remains up. And we can get permission to create those tanks ourselves. So this doesn't have them sending us the equipment, it allows us to produce it ourselves, as if we'd done that research. And I think that if you do that, then you get a research bonus as well for researching that stuff yourself. So getting that from Germany for the 4 civilian factories, then researching it, then stopping the license, would allow us to get more. Alright, decryption is done. So let's start working on encryption. You will get a tech discount. Yeah, I thought so. It's not a system I've used very often, but I thought that was the case. You guys need to do a little bit of retraining. In fact, a bunch of you will, because we sent out the field hospitals. And you should do a little bit too. Okay. This. They're suffering attrition, but that's because they're training. Let's take a look at our supply situation, because I suspect, yeah, we're overburdened on that side. So let's select you lot. Select half of you and put you over here. Because we really don't need that many in Egypt. Most of the stuff here is going to be done by the motorized. Licensing gets used a lot in multiplayer where different players concentrate on different ahead-of-time technologies. Yeah, I assume that. They haven't shown off Portugal's new tree yet. No, they have not. I'm trying to remember if I've seen it. No, I don't think I have. They announced it to the media people before they announced it to anyone else, so we had to stay stum about it for a couple of days. I don't think they had a build of the Portuguese tree in the version of the game they showed us. Well, we did see La Resistance. I've seen the espionage stuff. They were asked and it said it wasn't finished yet. Aha. Yeah, that training is not going to take very long. All done. Marvellous. Okay, good. So how close are you to getting Organizer? Actually not a million miles away. That's good. Still slight motorized shortage. But we should overcome that soon enough. I mean, we're building up the efficiency and everything else. Kaiser Schmoen, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about what the new update is going to be like. The new Portugal, I mean. Okay, we still have a lot of destroyers to go, but we did just upgrade 80 destroyers, so it's not that surprising that there is a lot to do. Submarine effort. Disperse support. Both done on the same day. Nice. So let's get overwhelming firepower, which will increase all artillery attack. And then also new national focus, which is going to be befriend Bulgaria, then Pact of Steel, because I really want to get that done before Germany declares war. Bulgaria is in our sphere of influence. Their secure alignment with Italy is key to our Balkan ambitions. And we also have enough army experience to potentially rejig our unit templates a little bit further. Just curious about what this is going to mean. Because we've gone superior firepower, it does mean that we want more artillery. So these units are going to do a ton of damage. They got decent breakthrough, decent piercing. They won't cost a huge amount of infantry equipment to secure. We could basically afford it in terms of artillery. We lose a bunch of organization, but we do keep the combat width. Or, the alternative would be to increase the amount of artillery and then increase the amount of infantry so that we have 40 combat width. Which would look something like that. But that would cost 45 army experience to create. 50 organization. How much organization are we still going to get from our Doctrine? I have a feeling a fair amount. 10 more from there. That's it. Yeah, I'm gonna go crazy. This is not necessarily a template I would recommend for new players. The one that I've been using, the 7 and 2, is very, very strong. This is kind of a bit bonkers because the organization is so low. So they're going to be pushed back fairly easily, but they're going to do a crazy amount of damage. And this will work well when we upgrade it to the 40 combat width eventually. Do it. That's going to require a bunch of retraining too. Like I said, risky. And if only there was an artillery use skill. Like Kaiserreich, there's a trait which is artillery expert. And we would definitely get that trait. Actually, that's a nice little bit of information. If you are wondering which traits your general will get, so for example, cavalry leader, at what point do you know if you have more than 40% cavalry motorized or mechanized? Well, it depends on the icon. So right now, these are primarily artillery units. So if we did have artillery expert, we would get that, and we probably won't get infantry leader while we have the artillery icon. Likewise with these guys, these are going to count as motorized at the moment, so we'd be building up the cavalry leader rather than panzer leader. We would need to add more tanks to these units to get the panzer leader. Shouldn't you get more organization with more brigades? Not necessarily. One of the big things about infantry is they add a ton of organization, whereas artillery add a bunch of damage but remove organization. So the fact that I'm removing infantry, who are the main source of organization anyway, and adding artillery means we're quite dramatically increasing our damage output, but we're not going to have a huge amount of org. So we're not going to be able to like stand in a fight for very long. But here in the Alps, I'm not too concerned because we are backed up by mountaineers, and those mountaineer units have 62 organization, so as long as they stay in the fights, it's fine. Speaking of which, I should also add field hospitals to them. Oh, right. Changing these formations, because artillery count as an infantry, it didn't actually cost us any experience. So let's go ahead and add field hospitals to you. And support companies also cost organization usually. So that's another thing you need to consider when you're offsetting stuff. And motorized work in the same way as infantry. So the motorized is the organization, then the motorized artillery and the tanks lose organization, which is why these guys only have an organization of 40, despite the fact that they have a lot of motorized. Hey, Magpie. Wow, I can store almost 600,000 fuel. No wonder this is ticking up relatively slowly, even though I'm not actually using any right now. Although we are dramatically increasing the number of refineries we're building. There's oil processing, which is going to increase that only a little bit further. January 39. It is time for more construction. That was good timing. Yeah, we did go with the industrial concern. So we should get these industrial technologies nice and quickly. How's France doing for units? They've got about 100 divisions. Germany's got about 90. I have 100. But my divisions are smaller. I'm wondering if I want to get another set of the artillery. Actually, I'm using relatively few guns right now, so we're going to reduce the number of those we're producing and replace them with artillery. Because my templates are quite expensive. I mean, the only ones that are using guns are the Division Coloniale. And I'm thinking I probably do want to add support artillery at some point. There's Zenith. In fact, let's go ahead and train another 24 of these. These are just excellent at just holding positions, and it's more boots on the ground. Escalator clause invoked, 30 days remaining. This will allow us to make bigger carriers, cruisers, and heavy ships. Cool. Because Japan left. Okay, fighter baiting. Let's get low echelon support for more ground support. We are going to spend air power on that. Can we see what Germany is doing now? Yes, we can. Reassert eastern claims. They're going after Memel. And then after this, Danziger War. So we're definitely going for the Steel Pact at the right time. Because I think they will do something like air innovation first, and then Danziger War. Did I boost anyone? No. This entire series is intended to just show people how the game plays, so I wanted things to be like as normal as possible. I've not done anything fancy. This is simply an introduction in Hearts of Iron and how to play it. Minus the wacky infantry division template, which I, again, don't recommend. Slightly more advanced, but it's the way I like to play. You're still entirely effective if you have just 7 and 2. Seriously, that's all you need. 7 infantry, 2 artillery. It's a fine template. Organisation of a division is the average organisation of the battalions in the division, plus bonuses, penalties for the companies. The German Reich claims Memel. With German forces on their border poised for attack, Lithuania has given in to the German ultimatum, demanding the surrender of the old Prussian territory of Memel. It is passed to Lithuania by the Treaty of Versailles, but has now been reintegrated into the region of Ostpreußen. Have we yet reached the extent of German territorial ambitions in Europe? Experts are doubtful. France does have a lot of troops down here. I suspect a lot of those troops are going to disappear when the war breaks out, though. Escort carriers done. So let's go on to the integrated convoy defense, which gives us another 10% destroyer sub-organization, sub-detection, destroyer organization, carrier sub-detection, and then another 10% escort efficiency. Sounds good to me. And then we've basically got all of the anti-submarine technology, so hopefully we'll be a wrecking ball through their sub-fleets. But because I am planning to be so busy in Africa, I want to make sure that we can keep the lines of communication as open as possible. What's the biggest you'd make a division? Apologies if you already answered this, stepped away to make some food. 40 combat width. I would not go above 40. Because 40 combat width means on a 1 province versus 1 province is 80 total, so it's always going to be 2 divisions. So you can have one holding the line while the other one rotates out, for example. 20 seems to be optimal. They have enough staying power to fight, but are also mobile enough to keep rotating. 40 is late game, so like if you have really heavy tank divisions, then you maybe want to go to 40. And maybe for your like frontline infantry divisions, 40s, backed up by 10s. Okay, dockyards. That's it. This is the last of the destroyers being repaired. Is there anything else that I wanted to upgrade? I don't think so. Oh, actually, yes. I would like to upgrade my light cruisers. We do still have enough points to do that. So, early cruiser hull. Oh no, those are heavy cruisers. Those are tier 2s. I'll just get through here. Okay. Oh, you've actually got decent guns. Nice. But I want to add active sonar to you. Not necessarily to engage the enemy, although I'm now curious what the Taranto class has. Oh, these are mine layers. Damn it. Usually the mine-laying ships actually have the mine-layer icon. Never realised. Well, let's change that right now. There we go. And we're going to separate you into a new fiddlesticks fleet. Like so. You need to have Alberto de Zara, your admiral. You don't need an admiral. And we'll just leave you in Taranto for now. That's fine. Okay, let's try that again. So these tier 1s, I'm going to remove this. Oh, I can't. Can I not give you submarine hunting? Anti-sub warfare. It can only be here, and that's replacing a turret which has a really expensive refit. So I'd rather not do that. So these are not going to have any anti-submarine capabilities, but they're going to be very good at spotting them. Float planes plus sonar equals good. And then eventually we can replace the fire control with radar. Okay, these need a name. These are going to be the Bolin Starlins. And we need to make sure that those get upgraded to the Bolin Starlin. And then we have the tier 2s. Don't tell me you're a mine layer as well. You're not. One, 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 two, 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 two. In fact, let's just compare the stats. These are slightly faster. More light attack, more torpedo attack, so these are just more modern. These are armoured. Huh. That means that this guy I can't really upgrade. Well, I can, it's just going to cost me a bit more. But regardless, I want you to have sonar. So again, need a new name. This is going to be the War Dog Unleashed. I'm just going to call it the War Dog class. Save. War Dogs. And this one is going to be also very good at spotting because of the level 2 float plane. And this is going to be the Kitsukami. And which also needs to be upgraded. Alright. That should give us some work to do. Still not going to take very long to upgrade each of those ships, though. I mean, it's very limited refits that we're doing there. Didn't know you could access the ship variant that way. Yeah, it's really useful, especially if you have a huge cluttered set of ship designs like I do. So I think now I'm going to mark a bunch of these as obsolete. Early cruiser, we have more modern cruisers. Don't need you. Early cruiser, again, don't need you. Early destroyer, we do need those. The Rajans are too old. And then tier 1 submarines are too old. And those are just early heavy cruisers. Still obsolete though. Okay. It'll throw up an error saying that a bunch of them are obsolete, but that's just because they're being upgraded. It's fine. Alright, February 1939. Let's go and research advanced machine tools. No, let's research fuel refining, actually. Because we're going to need that fuel efficiency desperately. Oh, that's not deleting, so decommissioning does not actually delete the ship design. All that does is it adds it to the outdated equipment list. So if I pop this open, you can just see that this list is enormous, unwieldy, and horrible. This just pops it down to the ships that I want to be actually building in the future. So it's just a way of, like, filtering. It's not actually deleting them. Alright, good stuff.
Attento. Comandi.
A couple of your mountaineers aren't quite ready. That's because we added field hospitals to those mountaineer units. Yeah, that's okay.
Formazione.
So what's Germany up to now? Fate of Czechoslovakia. Okay, that's fine. Did I leave the Treaty of London? No, I did not. Don't forget to defend Sardinia. Good point. I would definitely have forgotten to do that. Alright, so once these guys are built, I'm going to make them into the garrison for my coastline, because otherwise naval invasions will happen. Am I rebuilding the Roman Empire? No, I'm just showing people how to play Hearts of Iron. What ratio do I use in terms of shipyards building to shipyards repairing? Honestly, I usually set all shipyards to repair, because they only get used for repairs when you are actually repairing something, otherwise they're just used for building. And that is a good point. I need to set that. So yeah, I usually just maximize it. Because if I have ships out already, chances are I want those repaired to return to the fight.
Ordini.
Now, if Germany did Danziger War, then I would need to start shifting troops around a little bit more aggressively than I am. Alright, time for a Pact of Steel. Our relationship with Nazi Germany is troubled by ideological differences and conflicting aims. Il Duce is extremely wary of German ambitions in Austria and the Balkans. However, realities do change. What do I do differently in my defensive troops compared to offensive? My defensive troops just tend to be smaller. So these are just 10 combat width. They don't have any support companies. They don't have any artillery. I probably eventually will, depending on the size of my industry, add engineer and artillery support. But they would just be combat width 10. The whole objective for these guys is just to hold a lot of territory. Whereas my frontline combat is more about doing damage. So again, I wouldn't suggest being this artillery heavy. I'm just doing this because I know what I'm doing and I quite like this template. But 7 infantry, 2 artillery is all you need. plus whatever support companies you're comfortable using.